how the government teach people to become strong, not only physically, but spiritually. How the government, as the example of the whole nation, lead in spiritual awareness. Then the whole nation will elevate, and then nothing can happen to such an elevated country. You know what I mean? Even if there is a tension or a tendency to be, it will change. So every religion asks us to believe and to be good, to be virtuous.
Please watch on to find out more.
Today's program will be presented in English and Korean, with subtitles in Arabic, Aulacese, also known as Vietnamese, Bulgarian, Chinese, Czech, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Japanese, Korean, Malay, Mongolian, Persian, Polish, Portuguese, Punjabi, Romanian, Russian, Spanish, Telugu, and Thai. 존경하는 시청자 여러분께 행복의 인사를 드립니다. 저는 한국 안성의 애경입니다. 신께서 여러분에게 영원한 평화와 기쁨을 주시길 빕니다. 한국은 수천 년의 역사를 지니고 있습니다. 코리아라는 이름은 고려 왕조에서 유래했습니다. 고려는 높고 아름답다는 뜻으로 한국 산수의 특징인 높은 산과 맑은 물을 잘 표현하고 있습니다. 영적인 개발에 신실하고 열렬한 한국 국민들은 1992년 첫 방문 뒤 수차례 한국을 방문하신 칭하이 무상사를 기쁘게 맞이했습니다. 스승님께서는 한국인들은 아주 천진하고 자연스럽고 가식이 없고 겸손합니다 라고 말씀하신 적이 있습니다. 또한 1992년 3월 22일 한국에서 열린 대중 강연에서 칭하이 무상사께서는 한국인들의 영적인 품성에 대해 말씀하셨습니다.
I understand that God, or you call Buddha, has blessed your country abundantly. I have seen so many temples, so many monks around the city, in the city. I have seen so many different religious temples in the city and in the capital also. I've seen so many Christian churches also growing together with other religious centers. Then I understand that your country, your people, is very highly elevated spiritually. Only when people are highly elevated spiritually that their heart can be so opened and their mind can be so tolerant, so large. That's what makes Korea become such a great country now, because it is spirituality that the Korean people are after.
2009년 9월 한국과의 화상회의에서 칭하이 무상사께서 말씀하셨습니다.
I love Korea. I love Korean people. I truly do. I have mentioned many times in the past how impressed I am with the Korean people's strength and sincerity.
(2013년) 유럽에서 있었던 협회 회원과 모임에서 스승님께서 말씀하셨습니다.
The Korean people is generous, you know, hospital. Very hospital people.
(2018년 4월 27일) 한반도의 두 지도자 문재인 대통령과 김정은 위원장은 역사에 남을 회합을 가졌고 역사적인 정상회담이 끝난 뒤 이 두 용감한 지도자가 손을 잡는 감동적인 순간을 전 세계가 목격했습니다. 정상회담의 성공적인 개최로 인해 한반도의 영구적인 평화가 반드시 도래하게 될 것이라는 희망과 연대의식, 통일의 분위기가 고조되고 있습니다. 이 놀랍고 고무적인 한반도의 발전적인 모습에 전 세계인들은 기뻐하고 있습니다. 한국 평화 축하 행사 이후에 스승님께서는 당신이 한국인이었다면 너무나 자랑스러웠을 거라고 말씀하셨습니다. 한국에 축하를 보냅니다. 평화로운 지구를 위해 사랑과 화합의 빛나는 모범을 보여준 데 감사드립니다. 1994년 4월 16일 한국 서울에서 칭하이 무상사님과 한국의 전임 지도자 세 분의 대화를 담은 신을 깨닫기 위해 우리는 종교를 넘어서야 한다를 보내드리겠습니다.
Supreme Master Ching Hai's lectures are not a complete meditation instruction. Please do not try alone. For free of charge guidance, please visit godsdirectcontact.org or contact any of our centres near you.
Okay, and my second question is, what is the wisdom to make peace among those believers in God, believers in Buddhism,
Yes.
and some other religions?
Just because they argue about the name of the orange juice and no one has the taste of the orange juice, I offer to have them a taste. Then they know, you talk about the same thing. I talk the same thing. I know. Then we don't argue.
I have a question. How can you solve the sin problem?
The what?
Human sins.
Human sins.
No.
Well, their choice.
Religion, I think it's different to solve the sins problem.
The
Human
problem
sins
of sin.
Guilty.
Original.
Original sins? What?
원죄를 말씀하시는 것입니까? 아니면 그냥 어떤
원죄든 어떤 죄든 우리가 죄를 solve하는 방법이 크라이스트라는 게 있고 부디즘에는 어떻게 해결하는?
Yeah, there are all kinds of sins, but the Christ, how do you solve the kind of the problem in Christian, like as a Christ, and what about your Buddha? And what about the Buddha's way?
I see. They both have similar way. Yes, cleanse the sin. A Christian has confession, you see, confession. Go to talk to the priest and confess it, and the priest will erase it for you. And Buddha also believe in confession. But the priest or the monk who you confess to, both have to be very holy, have to already know God, already connected with God, already awakened, realize he's inside God or inside Buddha, that he's a Buddha, realize that God lives within him or Buddha lives within him. Then, if you confess to him, or at least his direct disciple, then your sin will be clean. Otherwise, I don't know.
And what about the Buddhism?
It's similar.
Very similar?
Yes.
Confess to the Buddha?
Yes. The Buddha and the monks.
Monks?
Yes. But then this teaching was taught when the Buddhas was alive, when Christ was alive. Both have power to forgive because they're directly connected with God.
부활하신 예수님이 하늘나라에 계시기 때문에 그분이 바로 우리는 하나님이라 해요. 하나님이 땅에 오신 거예요. 그래서 그 죄를 씻는 것은 그 양반이 육신은 돌아갔지만 영적으로부터 이렇게 의식해서 이렇게 믿는 것이지 그래서 했기 때문에 우리가 죄가 사해진다고는 아무도 안 믿는 것이죠.
장관님은 그러면 프로테스탄트시군요. She's Protestant, and also when she believes God is resurrected and stayed in heaven, and if you're really sincerely and ask for help to the Christ and Jesus,
Yes.
and to that she can help from Jesus.
Yes, it could be, but we have to also be very sincere and worthy. And people have to be sincere and not to do it again. But today they confess to God, tomorrow they do again. So God, if always forgive them, then spoil them, make them become always bad.
그래서 그렇게 정말로 하지 않겠다고 아주 진실하게 예수님한테 기도하고 그 다음에 그렇게 나쁜 짓 안 하면 되는데 그 다음에 이렇게 하고 다가서 또 하고 이렇기 때문에 그는 결국 우리를 그 버릇을 나쁘게 기르는 이렇게
그러니까 계속 믿어야지.
그래서 she said we have to keep believing.
Yes, but we have to not only ask for forgiveness, but have to follow the teaching of Jesus. And Jesus said we have to believe in God and we have to keep the 10 commandments.
그래서 그
No
예수가 말
stealing, no lying, no commit adultery, no killing, etc., etc. If we keep it first, then God probably forgive us for our past sin, but not always forgiving. For example, we have, for example, okay, you are a minister, all right, minister one. I make an example.
Yeah.
You are a minister, okay,
Yeah.
and now sometimes you do all your best to do your work, yes, as a minister.
예, 그 장관님께 아주 열심히 일을 하시죠, 장관으로서.
But sometimes you make mistake.
근데 어떨 때는 실수하실 때도 있죠.
Okay, then you ask for people, please forgive me. Ask the president, please forgive me. I don't do it on purpose.
그러니까 그렇게 실수했을 때 그 나라 사람들한테 내가 그 고의한 것이 아니니까 나의 실수를 봐달라. 또 대통령한테 내 실수를 뭐 이렇게 의도적인 것이 아니니까 봐달라. 이렇게 부탁할 수 있죠.
Yes. But because you already do your best and always doing it every day,
왜냐하면 여태까지 아주 성실하게 일하셨고 또 매일매일 그렇게 일을 하고
so
있으니까.
people forgive you.
아마 그렇게 되면 아마 사람들이 그 당시 그
Yeah.
어떤 그
The
과오를
president pardoned you.
그
Yes.
받을 수도 있죠. 대통령도 받을 수
You keep
있고요.
all the law of the country and the law of the minister, and just occasionally you make mistake. Yes.
왜냐하면 그 나라의 법도 잘 따르고 또 그 장관일 열심히 하고 그러다 어쩌다가 이렇게 실수로 이렇게 과를
So I'm afraid we cannot get pardon 24 hours a day,
그러니까 우리는 24시간 내에 그 죄를 항상 구할 수는 없죠.
except we truly keep the precepts.
그러니까 우리가 그 십계명을 잘 지키지 않는
That's
것은
why
어려운 거죠.
all my disciple has to keep the precept.
그래서 우리 제자들은 항상 그 계명을 계율을 잘 지켜.
Then I promise them that they will truly be liberated.
그래서 나는 그렇게 하는 조건으로 나는 그들한테 그 약속하는 것이 그들이 확실하게 해탈하리라고만
There's a
약속합니다.
price for everything.
그것은 바로 모든 사람이 열심히 살 때 그 대가로 오는 것이죠.
God doesn't want to spoil His children, to make them bad.
예, 그 하나님은 그 하나님의 자녀를 그렇게 그 버릇없게 그렇게 하고자 하지 않습니다.
Punishment, suffering, it is because God wants to teach His children to be better.
우리가 고통을 받는 것들은 죄, 그 벌을 받는 것들은 그 자식이 잘 되도록 우리가 가르쳐.
And they just don't want to be better, they just want the pardon.
그러니까 우리가 그냥 더 좋아지길 바라지 않고 항상 죄만 용서해 달라고 바라기만 하죠.
Very difficult.
아주
Yes.
어렵죠.
So what is your advice, excuse me, one more question, to the Christians,
Yes.
to the Buddhists in Korea or India?
Well, they pray as they want. But be sincere. Be sincere. And whatever they do wrong, they should not do it again. Otherwise, there's no use always praying for pardon. Besides, there is a way. There are quite many teachers nowadays teach people how to discover the God inside you and the Buddha inside you. To drink directly the orange juice instead of arguing about the name of different label of orange juice. Some people call it Orangina, or the different country call it differently. You know, even water, you call it how say mul, and in Chinese they call it shui, Vietnamese call it nước, Chinese call it water, and English call it water. And if we do not understand the essence of water, we argue forever. Just drink the water and know it. And many teachers teach the direct way to drink the water. So I'm one of them. It's very easy to find out whether Buddha is God or God is not the Buddha. When you drink the water, you know what they're talking about, and no need to argue. The water is not in the name of the orange juice. It's not in the advertisement of the orange juice. It's not in the research about how orange juice are composed, but it is in the orange juice itself. So it doesn't matter how much you read about research about orange juice, about advertisement, you still did not know what orange juice is. The reason why my disciples who are Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Taoist don't argue with each other anymore because they drink. They know what God is. They directly know.
그래서 내 제자들이 뭐 기독교 신자도 있고 불교 신자도 있고 종교 신자들도 있지만 그들은 이름 가지고 이렇게 논쟁하지 않습니다. 왜냐하면 그 사람들은 맛을 아니까요. 그리고 내면에 있는 것을 바로 그 사람이 알기 때문에.
And they live peaceful with each other.
그리고 서로 아주 평화롭게 서로 함께 삽니다.
Just like blood sister and brother.
예, 아주 그 피를 나는 형제처럼입니다.
I'm very much compassionate with you and what you have said. What do you identify your thought in such a way as you express Christianity, Buddhism, such a way? What is your religious, thought can be identified in language?
I believe.
You believe.
It's just very difficult to talk. That's why I say just drink the juice. It would be better. A direct experience. Yes. A direct experience is better than all kind of identification by language or talk. So I mostly only teach people how to get in touch with their own God, realize the God that live within themselves, or the Buddha within themselves. And then every other thing I talk is just like Jesus has talked or Buddha has talked. You know what I mean? Just similar things.
So
it's no different.
Is there any a name or?
No name.
No name?
No. Because Buddha already named everything. Jesus already named everything. No need for me to name another one. So many religions already. Buddhist, Taoist, Christian, Muslim, and whatnot. And now I'll come a Qinghai religion and make more trouble. You know? No, nothing there. I tell them, if you're Christian, read the Bible, keep the precepts, and meditate the way I teach you. If you're Buddhist, read the sutra, keep the precept of Buddhist, and meditate the way I taught you.
And don't argue and don't hate each other.
No, they could not do it after they realized that everybody is a Buddha. They cannot hate, even if they want to hate, it's difficult. You know? They change.
So your first advice is to don't argue.
No need to argue.
Yeah.
Yes, find out the God inside. Even I can only offer help, but it's their right to take or to refuse, you see? So if they refuse, they'll be staying forever in this arguing circle and never know the reality of what they're talking and what they want to see. They both want to see the same thing, they both talk about the same thing, but because they both identify with language and words and names instead of trying to search the real essence. See?
Interesting.
Yeah.
저 얼마 전에 제네럴 전한테서 치아임상서 사진 보면서 전화 왔어요.
A few days ago, you remember General John, the last week?
Yes.
And he gave your photo and pic
For her.
Yes.
Yes.
As a
Present.
선물 보낸 것도 제가 보고 전 종교적인 것보다는 선생님이 영적인 분이다고 제가 듣고 또 선생님은 책을 보니까 한국이란 나라가 아주 대단히 중요한 나라라고 말씀을 하시고 이 중요한 나라가 세계 속에 참 어떠한 중요한 역할을 할 것인지 이 선생님이 우리나라가 굉장히 지정학적으로 중요하다고 그랬거든요. 선생님께서 왜 정말 코리아가 저도 그 보니까 선생님께서는 우리나라에 대단한 애착을 많이 갖고 계시는 것 같았어요. 대한민국에 대한 그 사랑하는 애착. 그래서 정말 왜 어떤 부분에서 코리아가 그렇게 중요한가.
While I reading your book, I got impression you love Korea so much.
Yes.
And also you mentioned that the Korea Pennsylvania is very, very important geographically.
Yes, yes.
And she wants to know why. And is there any special reason why you
Why I love
Korea
Korea
so much?
Maybe because the Korean people love me. Very simple.
사람들이 나를 많이 사랑하기 때문에.
It's mutual.
Mutual. Yes. 그래서 서로 잘 통하는 것 같다.
They just love me simply love me, and I just love them. Very
한국
simple.
사람들이 아주 단순하게 나를 그냥 사랑하니까 나도 또 그냥 그 한국 사람들 아주 사랑하는 거죠.
It's like you love a girl, you don't know why. Everybody asks you why you love her. You may say, oh, maybe her legs very nice or her eyes, but then another people have the same eyes and same leg, and you don't love her. You just love that girl. You know what I mean? And in Buddhism, they believe in affinity. You know.
불교에서는 어떻게 있는 그런 거죠?
Well, you know, the conflict, there had been a war between North and South.
Yes.
Do you expect any, do you foresee any kind of conflict or that kind in future or in the near future in this peninsula?
Oh, you mean the war?
Yeah.
Will there be any war again between North and South? Well, you are a politician, you know better.
But you're what, first spiritual enlightenment.
There's always a different change, depends on the people of Korea, you see. Because suppose there might be a war or a tension between North and South Korea, you see. Suppose so. Because bad karma, last life or something, according to Buddhism. But suppose suddenly there is a change of mind, a change of mind inside the South Korean people. They become better, more virtuous, or they practice a lot of meditation. So, the future of Korea depends on the Korean people. How the government rise the level of people's virtuous consciousness. Yeah, how the government teach people to become strong, not only physically, but spiritually. How the government, as the example of the whole nation, lead in spiritual awareness. Then the whole nation will elevate, and then nothing can happen to such an elevated country. You know what I mean? Even if there is a tension or a tendency to be, it will change. So every religion asks us to believe and to be good, to be virtuous. We can change the fate of Korea.
그래서 우리는 학원 운명을 사실 바꿀 수가 있습니다.
뭐 물어보실 거 없어요?
You are in hurry?
말씀 좋은 말씀을 너무 많이 들어가지고.
박 의원님 말씀.
꼭 그 말씀을 여쭙겠다면요. 그 사람이 명이 있지 않습니까? 그죠? 명으로도 죽고 사고로도 죽지 않습니까? 그죠? 평소에 그 몇 살까지나 살 수 있는 것이 원명이지. 사람이 태어난 명이 중요하죠.
When we was born in this world, we are supposed to how long we have a life in this world. But some people could be died with an accident or some kind of problem or disease.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But how do you relate with the original
Plan.
plan and
Live
dying
long.
with
Maybe the accident or disease are also in the plan.
아마 그러면은 사고나 또는 이렇게 어떤 병으로 이렇게 우리가 죽을 때 사실은 그것이 운명으로 우리가 정해져 있는 것이라고 할 수 있는 거죠.
Maybe nothing is accident. In Buddhism, we do not encourage fortune reading.
네, 그래서 우리는 불교 그 쪽에서는 사람들의 운명을 이렇게 읽도록
No.
권하지
선생님
않습니다.
종교를 불교를 가지고 계시면 종교는 초월하시고 종교는 안 가지고 계시면
Do you think that you have a religion or are you just beyond the religion?
To realize God, we have to go beyond religion.
그러니까 그 종교를 넘어선 존재를 우리가 갈 수 있도록 깨닫는 것이 바로 진정한
To
종교입니다.
become a doctor, we have to go beyond medical books.
예, 그래서 우리가 그 의사가 되기 위해서는 의학서를 다 공부하고 그거를 뛰어넘어야 되잖아요.
Yeah, reading about future.
우리 앞으로의 그 어떤 오늘 있는 거에 대해서 좀
In our group, we don't encourage that.
우리 그 단체에서는 그렇게 그 오늘 이렇게 보라고 이렇게
You know why?
하지 않습니다.
Because things can always change.
왜냐하면 우리 생각이 항상 바뀌기 때문에.
For example, you asked me about North and South Korea, okay?
예를 들어서 지금 남북간에 대해서 물어봤죠.
When they come together, right?
어떻게 서로 이렇게 합쳐지는 거죠?
Okay. Suppose I know.
내가 그럼 만약 안다고 합시다.
I suppose I know, and I tell you, then everybody South Korea expect that.
그러면 모든 이 남한 사람들이 그렇게 2000년에 통일되기를 기다릴 거예요.
Expect that. Then it might happen, or it might not happen.
근데 그렇게 될 수도 있고 안 될 수도 있죠.
Why?
왜 그럴까요?
Because now, if I tell you, everybody think, okay, Master Ching, she is very good. She must tell the truth, and then they start to relax.
그리고는 그 다음에 사람들이 마음을 툭 넣게 되죠.
Yeah, and people don't care much about religion and don't pray to God anymore.
그리고 또 사람들은 어떤 종교에 관심을 갖지도 않고 기도도 하지 않을 거예요.
And maybe neglect social duty.
그리고 또 자기 의무를 소홀히하기도 하고.
Concerning keeping the safety of South Korea.
그러니까 우리의 그 남한의 어떤 안전을 위한 그런 의무도 소홀히할 거라는 거죠.
And maybe do not care much about moral because now many people maybe they suffer because they want Korea united. You see.
예, 그리고 어떤 우리의 도덕심도 아마 흔들어질 거예요. 왜냐하면 지금 우리가 남북이 통일되기 위해서 우리는 많은 걸 희생하고 있잖아요, 그렇죠?
So they are very kind of concentrating.
예, 그리고 우리가 아주 굉장히 이렇게 정신을 집중하고 있고요.
Their attention concentrated.
예, 그리고 우리가 통일이 되기를 염원하고.
And they guarding carefully their area and their spirit, and they become more virtuous and praying more. At least they become more God believing, Buddha believing, more virtuous, more moral. And they're more united within South Korea.
그래서 우리가 그렇게 하는 동안에 우리 남한 국민 자체가 굉장히 결합되어 있습니다. 염원하는 것.
For the same goal.
예, 아주 그 동일한 목적을 바로.
So let the people pray as much sincere as they want, and then one day the sincerity atmosphere will change your country's fate.
사람들의 아주 신실하게 통일이 되기를 염원하기를 이렇게 내버려 두는 것이 더 좋습니다.
During the Olympics,
yes.
Before and after the Olympics, as I said, we urged the people to pray.
Yes.
And most of Koreans, they did.
Yes. That's very good.
Yes, and do you think that it worked?
It works. If people are sincere from their heart, you know, there's a kind of power,
some
energy.
Spiritual power.
Yes. This I don't say how much, but it's something. There's something.
I see.
Praying always good.
According to their own religion.
Yes, according to their belief. Because if you force them to believe in Buddha and they don't believe, say, how can I pray to somebody I don't even believe? There's no sincerity, you see? So they have to pray according to their belief. Or perhaps that's why too many religions, so to suit everybody's taste.
Well, thank you very much
You're
for
very
your
welcome.
comments.
You're very welcome. You can ask more questions. I have time. Don't worry.
예, 시간 있으니까 질문
Since I'm worried, you don't have time.
예, 아마 정관영 의원님이 여기 참석하신 분들이 시간이 없을 것 같아요.
그분들 먼저 가시고.
Yeah.
Only the ministry.
Yes, we send her off. We send her off. Okay. We send you off and then we continue. Very sorry you have to go.
오늘 주의 말씀에서 신을 깨닫기 위해 우리는 종교를 넘어서야 한다. 3부작 중 2부의 시청에 감사드립니다. 내일 수프림 마스터 TV에서 방영될 마지막 3부도 꼭 시청해 주세요. 이어서 더 밝은 미래를 만드는 깨달은 정부 4부작 중 1부가 방영됩니다. 신이 여러분의 매일을 영원한 빛과 지혜로 인도하길 기원합니다. We appreciate your presence for today's episode of To Realize God. We have to go beyond religion, part 2 of 3 on words of wisdom. Please join us again tomorrow for part 3, the final part of the discussion here on Supreme Master Television. Coming up next is United Government, Creating a Bright Future, Part 1 of 4. May Providence guide your days with eternal light and wisdom. For more details, please visit suprememastertv.com/WOW.